For 30 years, a shadow loomed over Wichita, Kansas. A boogeyman who gave himself a chilling moniker, BTK, for bind, torture, kill. This wasn't just a killer. He was a master of terror, a man who lived a double life with terrifying success. On the surface, Dennis Rader was a family man, a church council president, a Boy Scout leader. But beneath this veneer of normalcy was a monster who committed a series of horrifying crimes that held a city captive in fear. Our story begins on January 15, 1974. Rader entered the Otero family home, forever changing the landscape of Wichita. Joseph and Julie Otero, along with two of their children, Josephine and Joseph Jr., were found dead. It was an act of unimaginable brutality that marked the beginning of BTK's reign. But unlike many killers who retreat into the shadows, Rader craved the spotlight. He began a twisted game of cat and mouse with the police and the media, leaving taunting letters and poems, reveling in the panic he caused. In one of his first communications, stuffed inside an engineering book at the Wichita Public Library, he claimed responsibility for the Otero murders and coined his infamous name, BTK. This was his signature, his brand of evil. He described his method with a cold, detached precision that sent shivers down the spine of everyone who read it. The city was on edge. Who was this person? A neighbor? A co-worker? The terrifying truth was, he could be anyone. After the Otero family, BTK's spree continued, though erratically. He would strike, then go dormant for years, leaving the community in a state of suspended fear. In 1977, he took the lives of Shirley Vian and Nancy Fox. With each crime, his confidence grew. He would leave clues, sometimes even items from his victims, and his letters became more frequent and more arrogant. He wanted recognition for what he called his projects. He saw his victims not as people, but as objects for his dark fantasies. The years stretched on. The 1980s came and went. The BTK case grew cold. Many believed the killer was dead, imprisoned for another crime, or had simply stopped. The fear subsided, but the mystery remained, a dark chapter in Wichita's history. Dennis Rader, meanwhile, was hiding in plain sight. He raised his family, worked his job as a compliance officer, and appeared to be a pillar of his community. No one suspected the man issuing tickets for overgrown lawns was the same man who had plunged the city into darkness decades earlier. Then, in 2004, 30 years after his first horrific act, the ghost of BTK returned. A letter arrived at the Wichita Eagle newspaper containing a copy of a victim's driver's license and photos from one of his crime scenes. Why now? It seemed Rader's ego couldn't stand the silence. A book was being written about him, and he wanted to control the narrative. He was back in the game, sending a flood of packages and letters, toying with authorities once more. This renewed communication spree would be his downfall. Rader, ever the showman, began asking the police a peculiar question in his letters. Could he communicate with them via a floppy disk without being traced? In a move of brilliant police work, the authorities placed an ad in the classifieds, answering him with a simple message: Rex, it will be okay. They assured him a floppy disk was safe. It was a calculated risk, a direct appeal to his overblown ego. And Rader took the bait. In February 2005, he sent a purple 1.44 megabyte Memorex floppy disk to a local news station. For a man who had evaded capture for 3 decades, it was a shockingly amateur mistake. Forensic experts quickly retrieved a deleted Word document from the disk. The metadata, the digital fingerprint left on the file, was a goldmine. It revealed the document was last modified by a user named Dennis and was linked to Christ Lutheran Church. The pieces of the puzzle began to snap together with breathtaking speed. A quick search showed that the president of the church council was a man named Dennis Rader. Could it be this simple? Could the monster who haunted Wichita for 30 years be this respected family man? The police needed more. They obtained a warrant to test the DNA of Rader's daughter from a pap smear she had taken at a university medical clinic. They compared it to the DNA evidence found under the fingernails of one of BTK's victims from 1977. It was a familial match. On February 25, 2005, the long nightmare for Wichita finally came to an end. As Dennis Rader drove home for lunch, he was pulled over and surrounded by police. When asked his name, he replied, "I'm Rader." The officer simply said, "Mr. Rader, you are under arrest." The reign of terror was over. What followed was a confession that was as chilling as his crimes. In the interrogation room, Rader spoke of his murders with an unnerving, businesslike detachment. He showed no remorse, no emotion. just a prideful accounting of his projects. He calmly detailed 30 years of unspeakable acts, confirming he was the man who had held an entire city hostage. The man who sat before them was not a mythical monster, but a seemingly ordinary person who had harbored an extraordinary evil. Dennis Rader was charged with 10 counts of first-degree murder. He pleaded guilty and was sentenced to 10 consecutive life sentences, the maximum allowed in Kansas at the time. He is now serving his sentence in solitary confinement. A lonely end for a man who so desperately craved the public's attention. The case of the BTK Killer is a haunting reminder that evil can wear the most ordinary of masks. It's a story of profound loss for the victims and their families, a story of a community's resilience and a testament to the tireless police work that finally brought a monster from the shadows into the light of justice. Thank you for watching this deep dive into one of true crime's most infamous cases. If you found this story compelling, please like this video and subscribe for more content. Stay safe out there.